Hello, I'm Rich, co-founder and CEO at SportInspired. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're here to discuss the important role that sport plays in the mental and physical well-being of our children, and in particular, those kids who do not have the support network that many of us have been privileged to have had in our own childhoods. I'm sure you would rather not be on yet another video call this evening, but I promise this is going to be the best hour of your week. We have Joe Wicks, the body coach. We've all been welcomed into his home this year. Tony Bellew, former WBC Cruiserweight World Champion and star of the silver screen. And Anita Asante, a Great Britain Olympian and professional footballer. We also have the leaders of organisations who've been really important partners for SportInspired over many years. So why did I start SportInspired in 2008? Well, sports played a massive part in my life and in the life of my co-founder and friend, Pete Tommins. As a young teenager, my confidence was at its lowest ebb after a period of bullying at school. But I was fortunate. I had a mum that encouraged me to pursue my passions, and so I found kayaking. The fresh air, adrenaline, new friends, new experiences took me away from the situation I had at school into a world that I loved. The bullying didn't stop, but kayaking helped me to grow in confidence and look forward to a time beyond school when I could get excited about what I might achieve. Then later in life, as a sports coach and as a teacher to young children in more disadvantaged areas of London, what I saw really opened my eyes. I was lucky. I had parents that cared and who could pay for me and support me to participate in kayaking. But for millions of kids in our country, that is out of reach. There are 4.1 million kids living in deprivation in the UK. Think about that for a minute. 4.1 million children. That's the equivalent of the collective population of Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester, Edinburgh, Glasgow, and Nottingham. 4.1 million children with the odds stacked against them. It means their chances of mental health problems are tripled. It means the chances of them becoming obese by age 11 is doubled. It means they're more likely to face unemployment. It means they can't easily access support networks or sports clubs. It means their chances of overall well-being, a fundamental human right, are compromised simply because of where they live. So what can SportInspired do to help these kids? Our programs are designed so that we introduce lots of kids to a range of locally available sports they otherwise would never experience. We create a sports environment that is so exciting and supportive that everyone has fun regardless of their ability, where we celebrate team spirit and being your best as more important than the traditional approach to winning, where being the best is all that matters. We build successful and sustainable relationships between schools, sports providers, businesses, councils, and housing associations. We set up local sports providers to deliver in local schools, converting the initial enjoyment of a sport for a child to having it become a normal part of their everyday life. And finally, we work collaboratively with our funding partners to make sure we maximize their impact, including through volunteering when possible. Over 13 years, we have run 418 programs, helping over 84,000 children across 35 UK towns and cities, all facilitated by funding from over 50 public, private, and third sector partners. But we want to do so much more. The pandemic has increased both the inequality and the inactivity, making us more determined than ever to deliver. By 2030, we want to bring sport to 145,000 of the most vulnerable 9-year-olds, kids across the UK every year to improve their mental and physical well-being. We have a proven and scalable model, a vision and a plan which is ambitious and achievable. To be successful, we will also need your help. We need to generate £30 million of funding in the next 10 years. This means more support from our existing partners, and we will need many new partners who want to help. Tomorrow, you will receive an email with our 2030 vision. Please read it and get involved where you can. To get us off to a flying start as we emerge from lockdown, we have launched a campaign called A Year of Play. Here it is as a short animation for you to see.
Lockdown makes me feel frightened and anxious.
I miss friends and playing games the most.
My friends call to check up on me, but sometimes I scream into the phone because I'm so stressed.
Normally I'd play football with my brother in the park, but I haven't been able to.
I've got to express myself through movement.
It's not only about being the best at that sport, it's about having fun. It makes me feel confident and excited in what I'm doing.
And my heart started beating really fast because I was really happy, and it makes me feel strong and happy like a firework.
I love cheering for my friends and feeling good.
Everyone was cheering for me. It made me feel special.
When you're feeling sad, it's good to do it so you can feel happy again.
I was feeling happy, excited and nervous. Excited, it means I have lots of happy butterflies.
Hello, my name is Millie and I'm going to be your host for the rest of this evening. Now, I really like the film you've just seen because as a programme manager at SportInspired, I have worked with many of these children that you've just heard and have seen what sport can do for their confidence, their self-esteem and their future prospects. When I was younger, my dad always encouraged me to take part in sport, but if I'm honest with you, I was never any good at it. I really didn't believe in myself or my abilities, which meant that often I wouldn't try my best and I would be quite worried about what others thought about me. When I got to secondary school, I really wanted to join the girls' football club. So I turned up to the changing rooms on Friday after school, kit in hand, ready to give it a go, walked into the changing rooms and saw that all the other girls were older than me. And in my head, I was thinking, it probably means they're much better than me too. So instead of just giving it a go, I turned around, walked straight out the school gates and called my mum crying to come and pick me up. A few weeks after this, my teacher approached me and she's telling me she signed me up for a sports leadership program. She tells me it involves going to a national conference with hundreds of young people I have never met before. I was thinking, why would she want me to represent the school at a sports leadership conference when I can't even join the school football club without crying to my mum to come and pick me up. Of course, she was seeing something I didn't. And the only reason I am speaking to you today as a leader in a national charity at 24 years old is because my teacher identified that lack of confidence within me and put me into an environment where, although it was really frightening and really scary at first, I was growing and learning through sport. I know I've been very lucky. Today, millions of children across the UK just don't have the mentors, facilities, or programs in and out of school that will help them find a sport they have fun participating in. Sport has well and truly changed my life, and that's not because I was really good at it. It's because it makes me feel good. I've met friends, mentors, and community leaders who have boosted my confidence and self-belief, which has opened up so many doors for me. This is why I joined SportInspired. I believe that SportInspired can be that someone who believes in the futures of all our young people and offers them the opportunities to thrive, just like my teacher did for me. By supporting us today, you are backing a vision that is shared not only by us, but by some of the leading names in the sector who know a thing or two about raising children's activity levels. So on that note, I'd like to introduce you to a man who has done more for kids and adults' well-being than just about anyone else during this pandemic. A man who has well and truly welcomed everyone into his front room every day for a year and epitomizes the generosity of spirit and fun that we hold dear at SportInspired. I am delighted to be joined by Joe Wicks, who is going to talk to us about his background and why he believes every child should have the right to play after lockdown.
Good evening, and thank you for that wonderful introduction, Millie. That was lovely, and I love your story. It's wonderful, very inspiring. And look, I get a lot of emails from people asking me to support certain charities, and obviously I can't work with everyone, and I can't get involved in every charity. But when that email from Richard came in, I read it, and I saw the passion and the mission and the purpose of that charity really is something so important to me, because I wouldn't be the body coach without fitness and exercise and sport, even back to like my early days as a pupil in school with PE. Like, it really changed the direction of my life. And obviously you may have seen, I've done this wonderful PE with Joe stuff where I've engaged, 100 million people in exercise at home through a really difficult time through lockdown. And for me, it was never about, it wasn't just about physical health. It was really, truly about the children's mental health and bringing families together. And I'm so proud of that. Like I never knew when I went live in my living room, it was a year ago today, actually, that I did my first live workout. And I didn't know how long it was going to go on for. I didn't know how many people were going to take part, but it was such a wonderful moment because I realized that I brought families together for the very first time from all different backgrounds, different diversity, different religions, different people that were in their homes at that moment in time at 9 a.m. exercising and having fun and feeling good and feeling positive. And I think I've really got such a understanding now of how important it's been for young people and parents with children, with young children, how much that's affected their mental health and their anxiety levels, their levels of depression and just their kind of confidence. It's been an incredible transformative experience. And yeah, it was over a year of workouts, and I've just been contacted by so many parents who said it changed their life, it changed their children's day, it gave them something to focus on, it helped them with their studies and their energy and their mood. And some children had learning difficulties and really difficult kind of behavioral issues, and it's helped them, it helps them, it calms them down. So that's what I want to go back to the very beginning for me personally. So exercise for me, it's always been my therapy. It really is. It's, I grew up in a really chaotic household. My dad was in and out of rehab for drug addiction. He's a really struggled through my childhood. And I remember just thinking, I couldn't understand why. I never understood, why can't he just come home and be with us? Why is he always in meetings, and why is he always using, and why is he relapsing? And I always had exercise. It was like it was what I lent on. It was something that gave me something to focus on and let out that stress and anxiety and frustration, which I definitely had as a teenager growing up. And I didn't have a positive role model. The only male positive role model in my life was my PE teachers in school. I loved them. I loved their energy. They harnessed me and they helped me let it out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was always first on the pitch, and I was really a mini body coach. Even back then, I was like getting everyone, not recruiting, I was rounding up the troops in PE, you know, rounding everyone up, saying, come on, get ready, let's get out onto the pitch. And it's always been in me. And from that young age, the relationship with my PE teachers allowed me to stay focused on something, give me, you know, responsibilities. I was like the football captain, and I represented the school in cross country, and I loved it. And I think without that, my life could have gone in a very different direction, because a lot of my friends at the time, you know, experimenting with drugs, they were graffitiing, they were going down the street and drinking alcohol. And I thought, you know what, I don't want to go down that route. And I knew how destructive drugs and alcohol could be for someone. And it definitely, it channeled my energy, like fitness and playing sport. And I was crazy. I would do, like, 1 week I was doing karate. I was obsessed. I'd do like karate for a few months, and I was rollerblading and playing football and tennis. But I always loved a new challenge. And I'm just so passionate about what this charity is doing. I really am. It jumped out to me as something that is wonderful. And you can just see Richard's passion in helping kids. And I went on this UK tour all over the UK to some really affluent schools, some really deprived schools in, you know, Rochdale and Glasgow, and really, really deprived areas. And what I realized is that, you know, all children need the opportunity to be active and to let out that steam, you know, let out that frustration, because so much stuff's going on at home, so much unhappy, stress, and not nice stuff's happening at home, that you can see these kids carrying it around with them. And yet when they did the workout with me, I saw the whole energy lift, the smiles came to their faces. And, you know, I see that so many times, and I know how important it is. And it's not just about competing, like we always think about children competing in sport, but it's just about having fun and playing. I mean, I think the reason PE with Joe was successful is because I'm there dressed like Buzz Lightyear, and I'm bouncing around the room, and we're having music, and we're dancing, and we're being silly and childish and playful. And that's a really important element of fitness and sport, which is the playfulness that we sort of forget as we get older. We just think it's all about exercise, all about, you know, competing and being the best. But I just think the more kids we can get exercising from the youngest possible age, the better. And what I've learned is that it's almost so essential to get it into your child or into children's DNA from a young age, the link between their mood and their energy and their stress levels and exercise, because it changes your life. It can change the direction of your life. It really can. So I think, you know, any charities that are working with that mission in mind is something worth supporting, because look at that goal, the aim of working with 10,000 children. That's wonderful, because that has a ripple effect to their brothers, their sisters, their mum and dad. It has a massive knock-on effect, and it can change, you know, one positive child in a household who's into exercise can really change the culture of that whole household in terms of the food they eat, the exercise they eat. You know, that you don't eat exercise unless you eat burpees. The exercise they do, and the way they communicate and have relationships. And I'm honestly I'm so inspired by what this charity is doing. And I really hope that, you know, if you are supporting it, you love it and you're proud of the work you've done together, and hopefully moving forward, you want to still continue, because, you know, I do think these small charities, you know, they need the help. They really do. And I've done lots of work with UNICEF, you know, with Soccer Aid and BBC Children in Need. I did a 24-hour challenge, and that's amazing. But I also know how difficult it is to, you know, grow and keep, you know, keep afloat and keep helping people in these smaller charities. So yeah, keep on track, guys. Keep working hard towards your goal. I think it's a wonderful mission. And I think more than ever, you know, with what's happened with lockdown, I know the effect it's having on children in terms of their mental health and their mood and their energy, their vibes quite low at the moment. So it's like we've really got to pick them back up. And school's one element, of course, and the home life one element. But we have to be thinking about keeping them as active as possible to change the way they feel. And I'm really pushing that narrative this year, where it's not about I mean, we're not even talking about childhood obesity and diabetes. We're talking now about mental health of our children. So it's so important that we keep the conversation going, we keep talking about it openly, and we keep promoting activity in our younger generation, because it's really going to change their life. So I hope you've enjoyed my little contribution to the conversation, and I really do wish you all the best of luck at SportInspired. It's a wonderful charity, and I hope to someday come along to one of your events that you do and see it all in action. So thanks for having me. Good luck, Tony. Would love to have met you, mate, and take care.
Thank you so much, Joe. That was wonderful.
Thank you, Millie.
Thanks, Joe. And I mean, really, what you've been able to achieve has been astounding. You know, PE with Joe, we've all been a part of that, and we've all heard of it. And we're really ready to join Joe in uniting the country under one mission, which is to get children active and playing again. So to everyone listening, if you believe in the same thing and like what you heard from Joe, please do get in touch and we will do this together. We often work with children whose self-esteem is low, and like Joe mentioned, lockdown has made that a lot worse. We would now like you to hear from a child called Mohammed, who was so underconfident at one of our most recent festivals that he just wouldn't leave his friend's side.
My name is Mohammed Sakib Ali. I am 8 years old. I felt kind of nervous doing it because I didn't think that I was going to be good enough to do it. Because sometimes outside when I play sports, the other kids, they beat me. Well, I felt happy of doing the sports festival and kind of excited. My favourite bit today was the karate bit because it was energetic and there was lots of fun, and you don't get to do that every day.
So you will be pleased to know that since filming, Mohammed wants to get his karate black belt and attend classes every single week, which is just incredible. He has found his sport, and that not only keeps him active, but has massively raised his self-confidence as well. The work we do to help children like Mohammed would not be possible without the help of our magnificent teachers, who are an integral part of what we do. Teachers have told us that throughout the pandemic, there has been a deterioration in children's behaviour due to the lack of contact with their peers, and that many schools have cut back significantly on sport other than basic PE. The country's teachers have worked tirelessly throughout the pandemic to be there for the kids who need them the most. And here are some we work with who want their messages to be heard.
To have almost this fear of going outside and this fear of interacting, and it's really challenging, you know. It's really affected the progress that they're on, the social development that they're on. That journey has been massively affected by it, and you can see it when they came back after the first lockdown, and you can see it again now, that they were worried to be near each other. Sports, like the unifier, isn't it? Sports massive, and I think it's a really important thing. You learn so much from the games that you play. You learn teamwork, you learn communication, you learn winning, losing, being respectful of other people's space.
Having these virtual PE lessons run by SportInspired have been absolutely amazing for the children at our school. Because of this lockdown, many of them haven't been able to get out with their families and be as active as they usually would.
I think it's important because the children we miss are the ones SportInspired are picking up, because if the whole class goes, everybody gets involved. If you keep on picking the best children, we miss out on the ones who might have a chance in the future.
They did broaden and open up a whole range of new activities and ideas and opportunities to the youngsters in the school.
And what's great is that everyone is able to take part, even the parents have been getting involved. And what's more importantly is, we can see that they're having fun doing this.
What was going on was truly inclusive, it really was. They had differentiated the environment to allow youngsters who may be anxious or finding large groups difficult. They had manipulated the environment to make sure that they could be included.
One thing from SportInspired what really stands out is that even last week the children are still asking, when's the next one? When's the next event? Where's the next one going to be? What sports will we be having?
Most of the students that have been part of it have really enjoyed it. It's brought out the confidence. I've had some students that have only just joined the programme who never ever considered university, and now have come up and said to me 2 or 3 times, sort of like, thanks for letting me go because I really want to be part of it. I want to go to university. I want to be involved in community projects and things like that.
There's loads of cases of people that benefit from the SportInspired programme, mainly with behaviour towards sports. It's not just all about winning anymore, it's about taking part and enjoying yourself and being a good sportsman and a good sportswoman.
Watching the impact that it's had on them has been phenomenal, and in such difficult times as well. I think you can really see them finding their voice. We've been trying with these children to unlock that kind of confidence in them for years, and then in the space of 6 sessions, you can really see it. It's been amazing.
Fantastic to hear from a handful of our inspiring teachers who we are so grateful to be able to work closely with to make our program such a success. Now, we'd like to introduce a real-life success story from an inspirational man who grew up in challenging circumstances, but through finding his sport, has become a superstar and a role model for children everywhere. This is Mr. Tony Bellew, former WBC Cruiserweight champion. Hey Tony, how are you?
How are you guys?
Wonderful. So the children have prepared a few questions for you if you're up for it.
Of course.
The first one is going to be from Ariella.
Okay.
Hi Tony, my name is Ariella, and how did you know boxing was the perfect sport for you?
Hello Ariella. How did I know boxing was the chosen sport for me? I started off kickboxing, and then it just led towards boxing. I knocked a couple of people out with punches when I wasn't supposed to do with kicks. So that automatically led me down the path of the boxing world, and then I never looked back after I was into it.
Tony, my name is Ethan, and my question is, how did you feel on your first boxing fight, and what would you say to your fans that you want to inspire?
Oh, that's a good question. How did I feel before my first boxing fight? I was extremely nervous. I've only ever been nervous for 2 fights in my whole life. One was my first ever amateur fight, and the other one was for my World Championship title fight at Goodison Park. What did I feel? Just extreme nerves, but I was calm inside once the fight had started, because I know I'd done all the work that I could possibly do to be as fit as I possibly could be. So that's the answer to that question, pal.
Hi Tony, my name's Simon, and I wanted to ask you this question. Were you ever scared before a boxing match?
That's another good question, Simon. Of course, we're always scared before each and every fight, because anything can happen. But also, you've got to maintain focus, and you've got to maintain desire and discipline. You've trained really hard. So while the nerves and you can actually be scared there, you learn to harness them feelings and use them to your advantage. It's something that we can all do with plenty of practice.
Hi Tony, my name is Nathaniel, and I just wanted to ask you for a little bit of advice, because when I do stuff like announcing things to my class, I feel kind of nervous. I just wanted to ask for your advice.
What a lovely question from a lovely young lady. You shouldn't feel nervous. First of all, you should always feel like everybody else is the same as you. Nobody is better, nobody is worse. So first, if by feeling them feelings, you will automatically feel at ease with yourself. So that's how I've always dealt with them kind of situations. Also, just take your time, relax, and try and get through it. As I said, everybody else in the same position. No one is better, no one is worse. Everybody will feel nerves just like you will. So if you can take that on board and help use that to your advantage, I'm sure it will help further down the line. The very best of luck.
Hi, my name is James. What were some of your biggest challenges, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, James, I had many challenges thrown at me throughout my career and my life, to be honest. I grew up in a challenging area as a young child, and I didn't really have many things going for me. So I had to find the right path for me and work really hard as I possibly could to gain an advantage going down that way. So hard work will always be rewarded in the end. You know, it cannot be cheated. It cannot be taken lightly. The hard work must be done in whatever field you choose to pursue. And after doing that, you know, the rest will fall into place, in my opinion. So hard work gets you through absolutely everything. And the very best of luck to you in the future.
Hi Tony, my name is Sophie, and when you were younger, did your friends ever bully you when you told them that you wanted to be a boxer?
My friends didn't bully me. They would give me some verbal stick sometimes. So, you know, it's called, these days the guys would call it banter. So we would have banter back and forth with friends about wanting to be a boxer. Do you think you can do this? do you think you could do that? I'm not sure if anyone believed I could actually become world champion besides me, but in the end I got there. So thankfully all of the doers and the naysayers and the people who say you can't and you won't, they were all proved wrong. But they only got proved wrong because I was never willing to give in, never willing to back down, and always believed in my own dream. And that's how it came true. So for those guys out there getting bullied or getting given stick by other people, stick to your goal, stick to your dream, and you can achieve anything you set your mind to.
My teacher, Miss Amos, is in love with Anthony Joshua. Do you think you could beat him in a fight?
Most women are in love with Anthony Joshua, and do I think I can beat him in a fight? He's a bit too big for me, mate. So as a lovely boy as he is, I don't want to fight him anytime soon. But I'm sure your teacher can get in the long, long queue to try and get with him.
Thank you very much, Tony. That was our last question from the kids. It was really fantastic to hear from you this evening.
Absolute pleasure, Millie. I think he's doing great things at Sport Inspired, and anything I can ever do in the future, give me a shout. I'd love to take part in anything.
We'll hold you to that. Thanks, Tony. Thank you.
Bye for now.
So that really is the power of finding your sport and having the confidence to pursue it. And that is what we can achieve with the help of everyone listening. Through a year of play, we'll give thousands of kids the chance to find their sport and define their own dreams. It's through our partners that we're able to reach kids and help them to possess the sort of self-belief you heard from Tony just now. If you are listening, believe in a year of play for the UK's children and are considering becoming a sport-inspired partner, we'd like to now give you the opportunity to hear from 3 of our current partners. Mike Diaper OBE, SportEngland's Executive Director of Children and Young People, Andy Long, Executive Director at Pentland, and Sarah Craner, Executive Director of Community Affairs at UBS. They are now joined in a Q&A with Team GB Olympian and professional footballer Anita Asante, who has her own incredible story of thriving through sport. So without further ado, over to you, Mike.
Thank you, and good evening. It's great to be with you. I'm absolutely delighted to support Sport Inspire's 2030 vision and their Year of Play campaign. I wanted to quickly just explain why we at Sport England are partnering with Sport Inspired, why we're investing almost £500,000 into them, and it's for a really simple reason. Their objectives really overlap with our objectives. Like us, they really, as you've heard this evening, they really care about youngsters who come from less affluent homes. And the really sad thing is that affluence, perhaps unsurprisingly, but certainly not fairly, is still the biggest thing which decides whether a youngster is active or not. Like us, Sport Inspired place at the heart of everything they do fun. Now, after the year our youngsters have had, they definitely deserve some fun. Fun which builds their confidence, builds their fitness, all in a way which is right for them. And then finally, they seek to combine effort. And combining effort is at the heart of Sport England's strategy, uniting the movement. That strategy is about the here and now of COVID. We've got to recover. We've got to come out of that. But it's also looking to the next decade. And one of 5 big issues we're seeking to tackle is creating positive experiences for all children. So we quite simply need great partners like Sport Inspired, because when we move, we are stronger. That's true for children, it's true for adults, it's true for our communities, and it actually leads to a healthier and happier nation. So I absolutely am behind what Sport Inspired are doing. Now, Anita, I've got a question for you, if it's okay. Can you describe how sport has allowed you to become such a successful figure and why it was so important to you as a youngster?
Yeah, I guess for me growing up, thank you for the question, Mike, and thank you to Sport Inspired for inviting me tonight. I think growing up, you know, sport allowed me to express myself in a way that I wasn't always able to in other social aspects. You know, I was quite an introverted kid, and it just allowed me to connect with people in one shared passion. And for me, that was growing up on my estate, meeting kids from all different backgrounds, and getting that exposure to the game, and then really understanding, obviously the joy of the game. And it's true what they say of football in particular, how it can just bring people from different communities together. And that really was my starting point from as early as 6 years old, really. And I think it's important as well that, I can talk about my CV in football, but I have 71 caps for England. I kicked off Team GB at the 2012 Olympics. I've won championships throughout different nations in Sweden, in the USA, and also in England. For those of you listening, hope not to upset anyone, but obviously I've played at Chelsea, I've played at Arsenal, won the quadruple season with Arsenal, which was history making in the women's game and for myself. But none of that, I don't think I would have been able to achieve if I didn't start with just being active first and playing and enjoying the experience of playing, and learning the foundations of, being competitive, getting knocked down, getting back up. That kind of set the groundwork for me to get into those more structured game and be competitive, and then it went from there, really. But yeah, and I think now let's hear from Sarah.
You, Anita. So my name's Sarah Craner. I've had the absolutely huge pleasure of working with SportInspired back since 2008. We're one of their founding supporters. UBS is a financial services firm, and I look after their UK Community Affairs programme. So we've provided funding and employee volunteers to affect change, and have been working in the London Borough of Hackney for over 40 years now. When I met Rich back in 2008, we really saw that opportunity to collaborate. Like SportEngland, we could see that there were shared objectives to change the lives of young people, particularly those from disadvantaged backgrounds that have so many barriers to succeeding. Over the last 13 years, we've worked with over 9,000 primary school children together. We've involved hundreds of UBS volunteers, some of whom I know are watching this evening, and we've set up over 100 legacy sports. You'll have seen from earlier sessions of just what the power of sport can be, and just what the change that SportInspired has made. We've continually sought, I think, to evolve and kind of work together to sort of test out new ideas. So starting by funding to support how we can build the capacity of primary school teachers to teach PE more effectively, how we can make that more impactful. And we hope we UBS have played a small part in SportInspired going from a small grassroots organisation working in Hackney to one that is now delivering at a national level. Our partnership has a pretty special significance to me, because I have to say my last night out in central London before the pandemic hit was the night out at London Sport Awards with Richard Rains, where we won the long-standing partnership award. We were both truly delighted. We didn't know at that point it was our last night out, but it was truly lovely to be recognised. But it's not about that recognition per se. Actually, it's about the young people that we support and the lives that we can change. And we all know now that this is needed more than ever after lockdown. And with that, Anita, I've got a question for you. Why do you think sport and play can play a really important role in recovery after lockdown?
Well, I think, sport for me is an area where you get to release and be free and free in the mind as well as physically. And I think it will renew the energy in children again, as well, to be connected to their friends and their social clubs and their teams, and just being active gives you so much more confidence. I think it gives you self-esteem to try new things and expose yourself to new tasks. So yeah, I think it's going to be incredibly important that we are able to get up and running and get kids active again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Anita. My name's Andy Long from Pentland. It's great to be here, and I'm delighted to be part of supporting the Year of Play. As Mike and Sarah have already said, we know how much it's needed for the nation's children right now. Pentland's a business operating in the sports and activity space, not least as the owner of a number of well-known sports brands, And we were keen to put some of our time and money behind ensuring that as many young people as possible were able to enjoy the benefits that we know sport and activity can bring. When we went looking for someone to partner with, SportInspired stood out because of their track record of partnering effectively with companies like UBS to create a sustainable opportunity for children who would otherwise be missing out to try those sports and find something that works for them. The really exciting bit has been working together has been the bonus of just how much it's meant to all the people in our business who've been able to take part in the events we've held in partnership with SportInspired. It's been really uplifting for everyone and left our team as well as the children involved on a real high, even if occasionally some of my team were a bit too competitive when faced with the high energy competition of 9-year-olds. So one last question for Anita. Do you have any advice for children out there who perhaps haven't had the best relationship with sport, but do now want to get active?
Yeah, my advice, thank you for the question, Andy. My advice to young kids is just, first and foremost, be brave, dare to take space, be present, and engage. We never know how good or bad we are at anything or how we can improve a skill. I always say, I have lots of weaknesses, but I work on my strengths and I try to make my strengths my superpowers. And my superpower could be lots of different things. It could be communication, the way I support my teammates. It's not always about what you do, in that moment, but being physical and being out there will expose you to a lot of new things that will help you in your future build good habits that will enable you for life. So it's really important to just put yourself out there. And I have long life friends from football from all over the world. And that's one of the major things that I take from being active and meeting new people. So yeah, trust yourself, enjoy it first and foremost, and have fun ultimately.
Great stuff. Thanks, Anita.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That was absolutely fantastic. And it's really, really lovely to get that insight from you all who understand and believe in the SportInspired mission. And of course, to hear from you, Anita, about your incredible achievements and how much sport has really impacted you too. So thank you very much. And as we talk to more and more people across the UK, we can really feel our vision bringing together people from different walks of life like never before, which is why we feel like the time for working together is now. Up next is perhaps the most important message of the evening from those who need our help most, the real reason why we are gathered here today. Well, you've heard it here first. They want to play. And as I'm sure you'll agree, they certainly deserve to after the year we've had. We have given you a little taste of what we're all about and the sort of community we've managed to create. But the journey really starts when you become a partner and embed yourselves in the work we do. As you all know, there's no such thing as a free show nowadays. So following this, you'll all receive an email with various supporting options and the chance to set up a direct meeting with us to discuss your priorities. If you just can't wait for that and want to get involved right now, we are adding the link to our Year of Play page in the chat. So if you want to, please do click the link to see how you can help. If, like us, you believe UK children need a year of play after lockdown, then we cannot wait to hear from you. Finally, as I'm sure you're already aware, today marks 1 year since the first lockdown began in the UK, and the nation has been asked to stand on their doorsteps at 8 p.m. with a light to signify a beacon of remembrance on this National Day of Reflection. So with this in mind, I'm off to reflect on this crazy year we've all been through. But before I go, I wanted to say a massive thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. And I'll leave you for one final time with our campaign for the Year of Play. Have a lovely evening, everyone, and goodbye.
Lockdown makes me feel frightened and anxious. I miss friends and playing games the most. My friends call to check up on me, but sometimes I scream into the phone because I'm so stressed.
Normally I'd play football with my brother in the park, but I haven't been able to.
I've got to express myself through movement.
It's not only about being the best at that sport, it's about having fun. It makes me feel confident and excited in what I'm doing.
And my heart started beating really fast because I was really happy, and makes me feel strong and happy like a firework.
I love cheering for my friends. I'm feeling good.
Everyone was cheering for me. It made me feel special.
When you're feeling sad, it's good to do it so you can feel happy again.
I was feeling happy, excited and nervous. Excited, which means I have lots of happy butterflies.